Coming up next is the representative number District 77 race between Representative Fred Allen, the incumbent, and Grant Smith, his challenger. And we're going to have questions asked by
John Hedrick.
I think it's John Hedrick. There we go.
You got it.
John Hedrick.
Okay.
Okay, John Hedrick. Remember, we alternate which one starts first.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. I'm John Hedrick, Vice President of the Downtown Neighborhood Association, and I thank Kathy for putting this on and all the participants for taking part in it. First, to have 1 minute opening statement, Representative Fred Allen.
Let's see. I think we need to get Mr. Allen to unmute.
Yeah, he was on. I'd seen a minute ago.
And ask him to start his video. Yes. Let's see if we can get that going. Mr.
Representative Allen.
Please turn on your camera too.
And Grant Smith. Also unmute. Let's see. Well,
Should we? I see, yeah, Grant Smith on while
unmute.
Fred Allen. We'll go to Grant Smith. Opening statement, 1 minute.
How are y'all doing today? My name's Grant Smith, and I'm a Democratic candidate running for State House District 77 here in Pulaski County. As I go door to door, the thing people are telling me is that they want someone who's going to show up for them. They don't want someone who's going to show up just during election time. And I am that leader who will always show up for the people of District 77. It's hard to believe to me, you know, when I go door to door, people are telling me they've never had any candidate show up to their door before. And that's something that you can always count on with me. So I hope that you'll vote for me on May 24th.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith, Representative Allen, are you there?
There you go.
All right. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Allen. Yes, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Now we have you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
1 minute opening statement, please.
First of all, I want to say, indeed, it's a high honor and a privilege for me to participate in this forum today. I'm thankful for the committee that put it on. And I want you all to know that my name is Fred Allen. I'm running for State Representative District 77. And first of all, I want you to know that I'm a native of Little Rock, graduated from the public school system. I have a family. I'm a deacon in my church. And I've been in the General Assembly now for 12 years. And I'm the only candidate in the race with legislative experience. And I don't know what doors my opponent's been knocking on, but we've been knocking on doors too. And the doors that we've been knocking on, the people saying that they're happy and pleased with the work that we're doing out there in the community. So I would ask you all to examine my credentials, and I would ask the people of District 77 to give me another opportunity to serve them. I'm the only candidate in the race with legislative experience. I'm the only candidate in the race that has served in the General Assembly. I'm the only candidate in the race that has written and passed bills. So,
Mr. Allen, excuse me, your time is up. Thank you.
All right, go to the first question to Representative Allen. Government faces rising costs due to disasters. We've had the pandemic. There continues to be tornadoes, flooding, drought, wildfires. What would you do to improve disaster preparation by our officials?
well, if you look at my record, back about 4 years ago, I passed a disaster bill in case there was an earthquake in the state of Arkansas. It outlines some of the things that we need to do because we are near the New Madrid Fault. If you look at the disasters that's happening in our country today, these disasters are disasters that we never faced before. So what we have to do is come up with a strategic plan on how we are going to address those issues. Now, when it comes to COVID, this is an invisible disease that we've never been faced before in our life. So what we got to do, we have to rely on science, and we also have to follow the guidelines of the CDC to make sure that we protect our people.
All right, thank you, Representative Allen. Grant Smith.
Yes, sir. It's good to be with y'all today. As you were pertaining to the pandemic and everything, Mr. Allen is completely correct. We must all do our part, must mask up and get vaccinated to protect those around us. You know, we know what's ahead in the future, but if a pandemic is to come in the near future, which it very well could, with all the different variants that are coming about, we just have to continue doing our part. And then, of course, we have the climate change that's going on in our state. We're seeing floods here in Arkansas. Crops are dying from drought. We have to do what it takes to protect the future for our children, our grandchildren, and we have to fight climate change. And there's so many different issues that we are facing today, but we must address all of the issues that we have here and the ones that are to come in our future, because we know it's coming.
All right, Mr. Smith, Governor Hutchinson has proposed fighting crime by adding another prison, adding parole officers, and increasing oversight of ex-inmates at high risk of committing crime offenses. However, no time was given to achieve this, nor did the governor speak about eliminating fees that sometimes lead parolees back to thefts and more prison time. There was no plan for adding education or jobs. What do you propose to remedy high crime rates in our community?
Well, first of all, in order to be able to fight the crime that we are facing today, we have to have the right people at the table. Adding a new prison when we could have used our budget surplus to improve education and so many other important things, but our legislators used our surplus in the budget to create a brand new prison in Northwest Arkansas. And a lot of these people that are imprisoned are with minor crimes. We have the 4th highest incarceration rate in the United States here in Arkansas, if y'all didn't know that. And a lot of those people are in prison, like I said, for small offenses like marijuana. And the thing we can do to improve the situation, it's not about adding more police. It's about adding those mental health facilities and giving people more resources. And for another one, legalizing marijuana. You know, that would reduce so many people in prisons, and then we have more space in the prison. So why are we putting people in prison? Actually, because a lot of those people in prison too are just in there because they can't even afford to pay their fees. So we're imprisoning poor people basically at this point.
Representative Allen, same question.
Okay, can you hear me? Let's talk about prison overcrowdings. I'm the only candidate that served on the parole board. And when I was on the parole board, here's what happened. A person would need 4 votes to get out of prison. They changed it, the policy changed from 4 votes to 5 votes. So it's a 7-panel board. And if it's a 7-panel board, you have to get 5 votes to get out of prison. Before, it was 4 votes. And if that person was denied parole, that person could come back in front of the parole board in 2 years. In 1 year. Now they're saying that it takes 2 years for that person to come back into the parole board to be paroled, before the parole board was seen. So if it takes 2 years, that means that the prison system itself is going to back up. And if you look at the prison system, not just in the state of Arkansas, but around the country, a lot of people feel that it's a new form of plantation. And the people are taking advantage of many of those inmates that are in prison. If you look at the makeup of parole boards around the country, the majority of the parole boards do not have any non-minorities on them. If you look at the parole board in the state of Arkansas, we only have 1.
Mr. Allen, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Your time is up.
How much time?
Right, Representative Allen, next question. What is your position on the 3 amendments to the state constitution that were discussed earlier by Jay Barth, the constitutional amendment and ballot initiative reform, the amendment allowing the legislature to call itself into session?
Can we take one at a time? Let's go with that.
Yeah, titled Religious Freedom Amendment. Yeah, go ahead. Need help.
If you look at the one that was passed, so legislators could call a session, a lot of this was politics. And what I mean by this, some of my colleagues were upset because they felt that the governor had too much power. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to take it up on themselves to have the power and the ability to call a special session. And if they call a special session, they want to control what's on the agenda and what should not be on the agenda. So that's how that amendment came about. And these other two amendments, I have not had a deep dive and had an opportunity to truly study those amendments. I don't want to make a commitment one way or the other until I fully understand what those amendments are. And I will have to do my own research. If you know, those amendments are not going to be on the ballot until November. So this election that I'm in is going to be held in May. So that'll give me an opportunity to study those amendments.
Did you vote for advancing them?
I can't recall how I voted.
Okay.
I can tell you on the one for the prison system, I voted against the bill to build more prisons. I know that for a fact because I had a big debate about that. So that deal I did vote against.
All right, thank you. Grant, you want the same question on the amendments?
Yes, sir. On the amendment about creating the 60% vote threshold, I think that's absolutely terrible idea considering Arkansas voters were in fact the ones who raised our minimum wage to where it is today. And I believe it still needs to be higher because people are barely making it from paycheck to paycheck, including myself, who understands the daily struggles that we all face, as well as they also passed medical marijuana here in Arkansas, which has benefited a lot of people. But unfortunately, still people are getting rich off of a plant whenever, and then there's still people going to prison and have been in prison for that very same thing. So I am completely against raising the vote threshold to 60% on the ballot initiative.
And the of allowing the legislature to call itself into session?
On that one in particular, I mean, I think it all depends on the situation, to be honest, because, you know, like Mr. Allen said, people are just calling themselves into session over partisan politics, basically, at that point. So I think there should definitely be a limit on it. But let me do a little more research on that specific topic, and I will get back with y'all with things.
And the last one, the one titled the Arkansas Religious Freedom Amendment.
I think that there needs to be a separation of church and state. I think that we have things the way they are here in our state, as many religious people as we have, but not everybody has a religion here in Arkansas, and we need to respect everybody regardless of their differences.
Mr.
We
Smith,
can't.
excuse
Yes.
me, your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
I'd like to ask each candidate the question about abolishing the state income tax. We actually have candidates for governor saying they want to do that. What's your position if that becomes a bill in the legislature?
Who are you directing the question to?
To you, Mr. Allen, and then to your Mr. Smith.
Sure. There are several states that have abolished state income tax. In the state of Arkansas, we have what you call a balanced budget. And anytime you cut taxes in the state of Arkansas, somewhere you're going to have to cut services. So most of the services that are cut are services that are going to serve poor people. So right now, without knowing what services are going to be cut and not knowing what they're going to do if we abolish state income tax, my position right now is that I would probably not support cutting state income tax at this time without a plan.
Well, I hope you stick to your guns. But the state income tax provides 50% of everything we spend in Arkansas. Mr. Smith, what's your position?
I do not think that we should be doing that. I do not think we should be abolishing the income taxes. Several states have done it, actually, and it's been a disastrous effect to all the different states that have done it. I think that our legislator, I don't know if you know it or not, but a lot of people don't know it, but they did a tax cut for the rich. Meanwhile, the majority of Arkansas is working class people. So I don't think that abolishing the income tax is going to help anybody. It's going to cut those programs, like Mr. Allen said, that people need. And we barely have the help we need as it is.
And
Thank
my
you.
question,
Mr. Smith, 1 minute to wrap up.
No, Mr. Muse had a question. Let's make it quick, Ron.
Do either or both of the candidates have some statistics on recidivism in the prison?
I don't know, but I do know one thing. When you look at recidivism, it's very high with minority prisons. It becomes a revolving door. And the reason why it becomes a revolving door, because when those individuals get out of prison, he or she does not have any job, doesn't have job training. And if you check the box, you're not going to get a job. So what do? They go back to doing what they were doing before they went into the prison system. So I know it's very high among our people, but there's a reason why it's high.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, I'm sorry. What was the question? The word exactly that you were meaning?
Do you have any statistics on the recidivism in prisons, in our prison system?
What's the define recidivism? I can't say the word. I'm so sorry.
Where people continue to commit crime after being released.
Very well, it could happen because our prisons are not designed to help people like they should be. People don't get the help they need. That's why more people need to have more resources and get mental health help and rehab, other than just being imprisoned and then just come back out just to get back in prison again, potentially.
Okay, now 1 minute to wrap up, Mr. Smith.
It's nice to have y'all here today. I appreciate everybody here inviting me to come speak with y'all today. And if y'all have any concerns or anything, feel free to message me on my website at grantforarkansas.com. And I hope to have your vote on May 24th. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Grant Smith. Representative Allen, 1 minute to wrap up.
Again, thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this forum today. As I said earlier, I'm the only candidate in this race with legislative experience. I'm the only candidate that has ever passed a bill. I've been in the legislature for better than 2 years now, and the work that I have done in the General Assembly speaks for me. And most people that know me will know that I can work both sides of the aisles. If you look at the number of bills that I passed, not just this year, but years since I've been in the General Assembly, it's bills that I can come back and tell my community that I'm proud of. And because of that, I would urge and encourage all of my voters in District 77, that was formerly District 30, to go to the polls and vote for Fred Allen. If you don't live in District 77, if you know someone that lives in District 77, I would encourage you to contact those people and ask them to vote for an experienced candidate. In the General Assembly now, when we only have a handful of Democrats, experience matters. Because on day one, I'm ready. On day one, my opponent would have to get ready. I'm already ready for combat. He will have to get ready for combat.
Mr. Allen, excuse me.
So
Thank
vote
you.
for Fred Allen.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Kathy?
Thank you. That concludes this District 77 race for the state legislature in this forum. Thank you for your participation. Now we're going to have a Pulaski Quorum Court